If you take a look at the images on the screen, you wouldn't think this has anything to do with Jehovah's Witnesses. In fact, if you show these images to any random person and said, "What kind of movie does this look like?" anyone would assume that this is a horror movie. In fact, as I was putting the information together to make this video, I even tested this out. I texted a couple people on my phone and I just sent them pictures and asked them, "What kind of movie does this look like?" And everybody said horror movie, except there's one person that said a sci-fi movie, which sometimes sci-fi can be a little horror as well. But I sent this image to about 15 different people who had no idea it had anything to do with Jehovah's Witnesses, and only one person said sci-fi movie, but everybody else said horror movie, and nobody said Bible-based drama. So why would JW.org have images like this in one of their drama movies? And it isn't just the fact that these still images look like horror movies, that once we get into the actual video, you're going to see that the way that this ghost character moves, the sound effects, the flashes of light, that they even directed this JW movie the same way they direct horror movies. So for Jehovah's Witnesses who are watching this video, maybe waking up, I'm going to give a little bit of a lesson in horror movies because you see, Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to watch horror movies. So to them, they would watch this convention video and they would not understand why they were feeling the way they were feeling after. And they wouldn't know any way or anything to connect it to. So this movie right here is called The Ring. And there's several different versions of The Ring, but this one is the original Japanese version. And keep that in mind, this is a Japanese horror movie because that's going to be significant later on. And this Japanese horror movie has to do with a ghostly figure who's a woman with long black hair that covers her face half the time and moves with flashes of light. They don't really show her moving normally. Every time she moves, it's like flashes of light when she moves. Now, another movie that's connected to this one is called The Grudge. Or I'm sorry, this is the American version of The Ring. And even the American version of The Ring is still based on Japanese characters. And for the sake of this video, I'm just going to call all the movies The Ring and The Grudge because there's so many different of these movies. So I'm just going to refer to it just The Ring and The Grudge and not specific which sequels and which ones I'm showing. But this is the Grudge movie. And again, this is also based on a Japanese horror movie. So The Grudge and The Ring, they're related. I'm not sure if it's the exact same maker, but both of these movies have to do kind of with the same thing. And the character, again, it's a ghostly figure who moves with flashes of light and has long hair that most of the time covers her face, but when it doesn't cover her face is kind of half showing. And while this is the American version of The Grudge, again, it's based on a Japanese horror movie. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses wouldn't know this because they're not allowed to watch horror movies, but in the JW movie that we're going to examine closely, you're going to see that the JW ghostly character, again, it moves the same way. And when it comes to subliminal messages, remember that subliminal messages they're not going to be exact, right? So it's meant to cause the same effect in your subconscious as if you've seen the real actual thing, but it's designed to be a little bit different so you don't really see it, but your subconscious picks up on it. So while this character in the JW movie, you could say facial wise does not look exactly the same, it does have the same exact characteristics. A ghostly figure with long hair that covers the face half the time and moves with flashes of light and weird like scratching sounds. So as you can see on the left, you can just see some similarities on the JW version. versus the character in The Ring and The Grudge. But as we're going to go deeper into this, you're going to see that it doesn't just look similar, that it is subliminal meant to be the same exact character. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit more detail. And some of these images in A Grudge in the Ring that the eyes look distorted, right? You only see one eye half the time. So you see this with the JW character too, just weird things going on with the eyes and this ghostly, just a ghostly look. And then as we go on, you're going to see that the Ring and the Grudge always have emphasis on this close-up shot of an eyeball. All of them have this close-up shot as an eyeball. And the JW version, it ends its ghostly sequence with a close-up on the eyeball, just like the movie The Grudge and The Ring. And when I said this is the same exact character, this is what I'm going to get into. So remember I said earlier that The Ring and The Grudge is based on a Japanese horror movie, and the main character is Japanese. So what are the odds that as Jehovah's Witnesses put this ghostly figure that looks just like the character from The Ring, all the same characteristics, and just by chance, Watchtower decides, you know what, we're going to have this one all Asian people, right? I mean, think about it. So most Jehovah's Witness dramas are all white people. They're all white people, except every once in a while they'll do something subliminal, like in the 2023 convention, it was an all black drama, but it had to do with poor people in Africa living in shacks, right? So the drama that was about poor African people living in shacks, that one they said would make it to all African Americans, right? So that was just another slap in the face towards black people, right? So they always have little subliminal things that they do. But normally all their dramas are always usually white people. So what are the odds statistically? And I'm not a mathematician, but you don't have to be a mathematician to see that the odds are not likely that you already have this ghostly figure that resembles the character in The Ring and The Grudge based on a Japanese horror movie. And what are the odds that of all the conventions that Jehovah's Witnesses do, this particular one, they want to make all Japanese characters, right? The whole thing is Japanese characters, just like the Ring movie and the Grudge movie. So this is what I'm saying, that the more we look into this, you're going to see that they're subliminally putting the same character, this Japanese horror character, and then putting it into their drama to give a certain type of an effect. And it's also subliminal messaging. But the odds, to me, those are impossible odds of just by chance they're going to make this drama Japanese, all Japanese characters, only in this one, right? So the next thing I want to explain is how I came across this information. So just to give a little bit of a background, I didn't get baptized until I was a Jehovah's Witness. I didn't get baptized as a Jehovah's Witness until I was 32 years old. But I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness because my mom got baptized in the early 90s. So, I mean, she started studying probably even in the 80s, but basically, about the time I was 11 years old to about 15 years old, that's when my life changed as living like a Jehovah's Witness. No birthdays, no holidays. So my life changed at like 10 or 11 years old. But then when I was 15 years old, my mom became an active. So once she became an active, then I didn't have to go to the meetings anymore and do all this witness stuff. So from the age of 15 years old to 32 years old, I was in the so-called world and Jehovah's Witness language. So now the reason I'm mentioning that is because I grew up during that time, or not necessarily grew up at about the age of 15. Then on, I was always watching horror movies. You know, horror movies were something that they were fun to watch. So I'm very well versed in horror movies, right? Just to make that clear. So what happened is going back to now I'm gonna go down to 2017. So in 2017, I was with my Jehovah's Witness wife. And I believe this is the 2017 convention. But anyway, so I was with my Jehovah's Witness wife, and in fact, we might have been dating at that point. I can't recall if we were actually married at that point, but I was basically at the convention with her, and we had the convention in an assembly hall, so it's not as big as the convention centers. The assemblies halls hold about 1,000 people, maybe 2,000 people, but they're a lot smaller. So we were watching the 2017 convention, and when this drama started to play, what happened is basically these ghostly images started popping up on the screen very fast with flashes of light and scary sound effects. And my ex-wife basically kind of jumped on me, like not really jumped on me, but like jumped towards me, like grabbed my arm tight. And when these ghostly images popped up on the screen, I could hear it in the whole audience. Everybody kind of jumped. And I immediately recognized this from when I was in the so-called world and I used to watch horror movies because this is significant to horror movies. You see, horror movies are designed, they're specifically designed to make you jump, to make you get scared. So when you're not expecting it, many times you see these quick flashes and quick camera angles changing and loud sound effects, and ghostly images will jump out at you and it will make you jump. So when I was watching this at the convention with my ex-wife at the time, everybody was jumping just like they did when I used to watch horror movies. So I was kind of stumbled by this because I'm thinking, why are they showing like demonic type images and using the same effect as horror movies? Now, most of the people in the audience probably never even watch horror movies, so they wouldn't know what hit them. They were all reacting a certain way, but they wouldn't know exactly, maybe they didn't have anything to reference it to. So when I say that like everybody was kind of jumping and my ex-wife kind of jumped tight on me. So in the movie or in the video Michael Jackson Thriller, if you watch the full Michael Jackson Thriller video, um the full length one is kind of like a little mini movie. So in the beginning it shows Michael Jackson with his girlfriend and they're watching a horror movie. And this picture right here, it basically illustrates exactly what I was saying that my ex-wife did. This is how horror movies are designed. This is the thing that happens when you go to see a horror movie, especially out on a date. The girl jumps on the guy just like that, just like this is illustrated. And of course, for us men, like we like the idea of the girl jumping on us, but even if we're scared, we try to pretend that we're not scared as we're watching the movie. So this is how like everybody in the convention was acting. No joke. And the thing is, because witnesses don't watch horror movies, this caught them off guard. Now, I want to explain this and I want to show these pictures just because I want to make this clear. So these are pictures of me in the early 2000s when I was not a Jehovah's Witness. And this is what I did. I partied. I went to go see horror movies and had hot girlfriends. I'm just being honest about it. So, and I'm not trying to say I dated all the women in these pictures. Only one of these people I actually dated. But me and my friends would go out, and this is what we would do. We would go watch horror movies. In fact, I could tell you who I was actually dating when I seen The Grudge in the movie theater when it was brand new. So while the average Jehovah's Witness was playing Bible trivia at some gathering at an elder's house and everybody's probably home by 8:30, this is what I was doing. I was hanging out, partying, going on dates, and watching horror movies. So this is an area I'm very well versed in. So in the Michael Jackson Thriller video, this is what happens. You go on a date, you go see a horror movie, and the girl kind of jumps or grabs the guy that she's with, right? And the movies are designed to make you do that. So going back now to 2017, this is again exactly what my ex-wife did and other people in the audience did. They kept jumping up as these ghostly images were popping on the screen. So so basically after the movie was over, and it's a three-part movie, so I had to deal with this 3 days they showed this ghostly stuff during the drama. So after it, I was stumbled because I'm like, they were using the same like editing and graphics just like the movie The Grudge and the Ring. So I was so disturbed by this that I was actually going to write the branch office because, in fact, I used the rogue artist theory. Now, some of you might have heard me talking about the rogue artist theory in some of my other videos. Well, when I was brainwashed, I even came up with the rogue artist theory, and I thought that someone that works in the audio video department is obviously like corrupt. So I was going to write the branch office and explain and say, hey, you have somebody who's working in the audio video department that put the same images and the same like directing and the same style specifically as this movie called The Grudge and the Ring. I was literally going to write the branch office because I felt I had to tell them, right? Like I didn't know Watchtower was doing the stuff on purpose, so I was literally about to write the branch office and explain this to them to say you got to figure out who was working on this movie, and basically they need to get this fellowship. So when it came closer to the time that I was actually like gonna really actually write the letter, I then started to get nervous about it because first I thought, well, I should probably tell my wife what I'm doing, but then I'm like, well, what if she thinks I'm an apostate, right? So and then I started overly being concerned about privileges, right? Because you never know how they're going to react, right? I could write the branch office and they could take away my privileges. You never know with these people. So then I kept praying to Jehovah, right? And and finally I got to the point where I used the Jehovah's Witness brainwashing of leave it in Jehovah's hands because I was too afraid to actually write the letter because you never know how they're going to react. And then I thought, well, Jehovah hears me praying, right? Jehovah sees it all, so you know what? I'll just leave it in Jehovah's hands. So I basically forgot about it. I knew something was off. And the thing about this is that the majority of Jehovah's Witnesses, they've never watched horror movies. So they wouldn't even know what to compare this to. When they were jumping up like that, they probably didn't even know why they were doing that because they're not allowed to watch horror movies. So the only people that I think would have recognized this is anyone like myself who was an adult in the world before they got became a baptized Jehovah's Witness. Anyone that was raised in this religion that was a good witness, they wouldn't even have anything to compare it to. They wouldn't know what hit them. So so basically I just decided, well, you know what? I'm gonna just leave it alone because I don't know, I don't know how they're gonna react. So I'm gonna leave it in Jehovah's hands. And I forgot about it and I basically blocked it out. So then recently, and this happened about a couple of weeks ago, I had this memory flashback, right? I can't remember what I was working on. I was working on some sort of JW stuff, and this memory flashback, it came back to me, and I thought, oh yeah, I remember that movie that showed those ghostly images in it. So now that I'm completely awake and I'm not brainwashed and I'm out of this religion, I thought, well, if I recognize this was the same directing style as a horror movie, if I recognized that when I was in the religion, I know something was wrong when I was one of these people. Now that I'm fully awake, I'm like, you know what? I want to go back and find this video and take a better look at it. Like basically a fresh set of eyes as a so-called apostate, which I'm not an apostate. None of us are. I'm going to make a video about that later on. But as a so-called apostate, I'm like, you know what? I want to go back and watch this video with a fresh set of eyes and see if it looks just like I remembered it looking. And when I actually looked at this again recently, that's when I determined that like not only are they using the same directing style and editing and ghostly images as horror movies, but this is subliminal to the same character in The Ring and The Grudge. It's the same character, and this is why the Jehovah's Witnesses had to have an all Japanese cast for this video because it's a reference to The Ring. So Now I want to show you, now that I explained the backstory, I want to show you exactly how this is actually subliminal towards the Ring movie and the Grudge movie. It's the same ghost. So the first video that we're going to look at is just the trailer. So the convention trailer just kind of shows a little bit about what this is about. And then you're going to see how they throw the ghostly images in there. So apparently they're portraying that this ghost is Lot's wife, right? That's the ghost is Lot's wife. So let's break this trailer down, and I'm going to point out all the things that make reference to this movie, The Ring and The Grudge. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that the mirror that she's looking at is a perfect shaped ring, circle. And normally I wouldn't say that. Like, I'm not going to point out every little thing and say, oh, it's subliminal. But with these people, this is how subliminal messages work. They flood it with subliminal messages at every turn so that your subconscious gets the effect that they want. So when they're doing all this stuff, most of what you're going to see that resembles the movie is going to be subliminal deliberately. This is not a coincidence that the mirror she's looking at is a perfect ring shape. And this is very subtle. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on it, but and one of the covers for the Ring movie, because sometimes they switch the covers of these things, but in the original in one of the Ring movies, that ring is significant to the movie. So looking at this right from the start, that's the first sign right there of a little subliminal thing, just the mirror being the shape of the ring. So now let's play the video.
Are you okay?
Brian, I'm worried.
You need more money.
Jehovah will take care of us. He always has. We have enough.
Maybe enough for today. But what if you get sick?
Gloria's mother keeps badgering her and me to move up.
I can get a job at my uncle's real estate firm. Maybe this is an answer to our prayers.
You hear what she said, right? Maybe she'll get a job at her uncle's real estate firm. So what this movie is about is that the temptation is she gets a job selling luxury real estate for her rich uncle, and it's going to keep her away from pioneering. That's what the whole thing's about. And the lesson is that she's going to turn up like Lot's wife because she's worried about material things. But I mean, for those of you who have been watching my channel, luxury real estate, the governing body, this religion is like one big practical joke, right? I guarantee you that the governing body sits down and just laughs at how stupid the members are. So this whole movie is about, oh, the temptation. She's selling luxury real estate and it's going to keep her away from Jehovah, right? And you already know, if those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, there's a video on my page titled Jehovah's Witnesses Secret Other Organization, right? For those who don't know what I'm talking about, but those who know what I'm talking about, this is just an example of like, it's a big practical joke, I think, to the governing body. Like, but anyway, let me go on.
What about your pioneering?
What about it? I can do both.
Gloria, I must congratulate you on your hard work with my company. But you must learn to keep your religion in its place.
We're neglecting family worship, study, service. We've even become too busy or maybe too ashamed to even pray together.
I'm concerned about you. One of the things that you always talked to me about was Matthew 6:24. You cannot slave for God and for riches. You're not the same person that I once knew.
Dad, where's Mom?
She is coming, right?
Is it really wrong to try to improve our life?
Mom, remember the wife of Lot.
Remember the wife of Lot.
Wife of Lot.
So that was just the preview, their little trailer that they created. And then they end with ghost orbs for some reason. I don't know why, but you have all these ghost orb looking things around. I don't know what that has to do with Lot's wife. But so that's just a preview. Now I'm gonna play this again, but just notice the music, right? It's ghostly music.
The wife of
Remember
Lot.
the wife of Lot.
That's straight haunted house music, right? That's haunted house music. The music at the Kingdom Hall doesn't sound like that. And then they end it with the ghost orbs. So now I'm gonna just play, just listen to the sound effects and the sound effects and the flashes of light because that's what I'm gonna compare to the Ring and Grudge movie. So notice the sound and the flashes of light. That's a straight horror movie, plain and simple. So now let's go to the next video. So this is a three-part video, and it was actually a Jehovah's Witness failed sitcom, and I'll get into that a little bit later. So you can go to their website and go to Remember the Life of Lot Part 1. And then at exactly about 22 minutes and 40 seconds, that's the scene we're going to look at next.
We are living at a time when it is vital that we do not look back in a figurative sense. What a sobering reminder.
Now, notice how disturbed her face looks, right? Like, and again, when you watch horror movies, this is the type of look of that anxiety and suspense of a horror movie. But pay close attention to the sound effects. Now, I just want you to focus on the sound effects in this particular scene.
That we do not look back. That we do not look back. That we do not look back.
And when you heard him saying, and not look back, look back, look back, that's a little bit of raw hypnosis, right? I mean, even though that I'm repeating it, when you listen to each frame of it, he says it like 5 times, look back, and those are just little hypnotic things that do have an effect based on other things that they put in there. So I want you to now notice this trailer for the movie The Grudge, and just pay attention to the flashes of light and the sound effects on some of this trailer. And just again, you see, even though this is the American version of The Grudge, it's still taking place in Japan, right? Again, that reference to it being a Japanese ghost. This is why all the characters in a JW movie have to be Asian. I have to go back because one thing that I forgot. So what I forgot is in the convention trailer, when it shows the ghost orbs floating around, you're going to hear a heartbeat sound, like a loud heartbeat. So just listen closely because you're going to hear a heart beating. Okay, you heard the heartbeat, right? So now the reason that heartbeat is there is because, again, this is a horror movie. This is what they do in horror movies. That heart beating loud like that is to give you anxiety when watching a horror movie. So notice in the trailer to this JW movie, it ends with a loud heartbeat like that. So now if we go back to the Grudge trailer, notice the same heartbeat. They have a heart beating. And again, this is horror movies. This is significant to horror movies, not Bible-based dramas. Bible-based dramas don't need heartbeats like that. It's something they use in horror movies. So you heard the heartbeat, right? I just wanted to make sure you heard that.
The whole time I was in that house, I felt something was wrong. What happened there?
So that's definitely not a movie Jehovah's Witnesses would watch, right? In fact, you'd be disfellowshipped if you got caught watching a movie like that. They might give you a warning and reprove you first, but you would get disfellowship if you watch movies like this because they would say that they're all demonic. So now I'm going to play just a part of that trailer, and I want you to listen closely to the sound effects, not so much what's on the screen, but listen very carefully to the sound effects and the flashes of light. So now I'm going to play the same clip from the JW movie that we just watched, but listen carefully to the sound effects, right? Mainly the sound. And then I'm going to play the one from the Grudge trailer. And notice how similar these sounds are.
That we do not look back. 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 That we do not look back.
It's the same exact sound, right? When I say exact, I mean, obviously it's a different track. But if you close your eyes and I just played one in no specific order, you probably couldn't even tell me which one is which. It sounds exactly the same. So how is it possible that it sounds exactly the same, right? Where you can't even tell the difference. Well, either it's the same director, which I doubt it's the same director, or Jehovah's Witnesses are using horror movie tactics. Or I should not say horror movie tactics, but horror movie effects and editing and sound. Those flashes of light and those scratchy, I don't even know how to explain it, but that is a specific sound to cause you anxiety, like a ghost is coming, right? It's nothing to do with the Bible. It's specific to horror movies. And as I said earlier, I'm well versed in horror movies. Not that I'm proud of it, I don't watch them anymore, but I used to watch them, and I'm very well versed in how they're directed, right? The different type of things that they use. So that sound is specific to horror movies. And this is essentially why when I watched this at the convention that my ex-wife was jumping on me like a horror movie. And that's why everyone in the audience was doing the same thing because they specifically are using the exact same effects to cause that same anxiety to make you want to jump. And that's exactly what people did. That is why they behave that way because Watchtower is secretly putting it in this video. So this one, just play it from the beginning because there's something that I want to show you right in the beginning of this video. So I'm going to just start this one right at the beginning.
Have to.
Glory, wait.
I've decided something.
What is it?
To start studying the Bible.
So what they're doing is they're showing what happened last week, which is really just the last day of the convention because it's a Jehovah's Witness filled sitcom, right? They did this in a way like if they're going to try to make it like a weekly series or something like that, or maybe one of their shows on their website. So they presented it like it's a TV show. So they're showing you what happened so far.
Together.
You mean you want to become a priest?
Come on, Rick.
It's Jehovah's Witnesses, isn't it, Dad?
What are you trying to say?
All I see is an unhappy man.
You have no idea how much pressure Gloria is putting on me.
You're not the same person that I once knew.
Now, why is the Great Pyramid of Giza inside the cell phone? So for my normal subscribers, you know that I always say the same thing. It's my new line, apparently, that every time that I do one of these videos, I always find something that I'm not looking for. So they're showing the cell phone up close, and this is like, I guess, a cell phone case that has like water inside and these little sparkle things inside the cell phone case. But there's a pyramid in the middle of it, and it's done in such a weird way that I feel it's subliminal of something. Right? So that's the pyramid right there. And when I say the Great Pyramid of Giza, what I mean by that is if you look at pyramids on, say, Google Earth, specifically the Great Pyramid of Giza, that this is how pyramids look from above, right? That's the shape of a pyramid from above. And this is the Great Pyramid of Giza right there. So what you can see in the cell phone is clearly a pyramid, like from above. And I'm just wondering why that's there. Right now, the only reason I mentioned this because you know that Watchtower's got like a weird thing with pyramids and certain type of symbols that have pyramids in them. So I don't know. Let me know if I'm wrong, let me know because this is not something I was looking for. If it's normal to have a pyramid inside of a phone case like that, let me know that. But if not, I think it's some sort of just another subliminal reference to pyramids for some reason. But now when I play, you're going to see that it's the back of a cell phone case.
Everybody squeeze in.
Right? So it's two pyramids in a cell phone case. I mean, if this is something that's normal and I'm not seeing it, just let me know. I'm not afraid to say if I'm wrong. But from what I can see, it's a cell phone case that's got probably like water inside. So those sparkle things, or maybe it doesn't even need water inside of it. But I don't see why there's two pyramids inside of that.
Smile.
And why they showed it so close to the camera. That's what made me think it was subliminal because they put it right in front of the camera for some reason. They zoomed in on it. And usually they do stuff like that when they're putting something subliminal in the background.
Smile.
Oh, it turned out good.
Oh,
That's nice. So,
very nice, very nice.
sure.
Yeah.
It was time for something new. Actually, we got many new things. We even got a new piano for Anna. Oh, nice.
And see, she's talking about all the new things she bought because she took that job selling luxury real estate, right? She's so unspiritual, right, that she would be involved in something like that.
Oh, Brian, so have some dessert, okay? Thank you. Hey, Brian.
Hey.
I've invited some relatives for dinner.
Yeah, so I see.
Are you hungry? Do you want some?
Oh, here's the oranges.
Oh, thank you. Hey, let's go.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Gloria, why did you arrange this without telling me?
Well, surprise.
And this is why I said earlier, Jehovah's Witness failed sitcom.
Why did you arrange this?
And I'm sorry, I have to say this. So the whole storyline is she gets this job selling luxury real estate for her rich uncle. And that's the temptation. this religion, and I don't, sometimes I really don't have the words to say it. It's like, I mean, the people that run this religion, they have to think that you Jehovah's Witnesses are absolute morons. It's it's like a big practical, it's like a game. It's like, I mean, I really can't even think of the proper commentary to say this, but do you see the level of like evil of these people? Like Jehovah's Witnesses are the fakest organization on the planet. I don't think you're going to find another organization as big as Jehovah's Witnesses that are as fake. They are 100% the exact opposite of everything that they teach you. Right? They gave you this drama saying you're going to end up like Lot's wife if you are tempted by money and things like that. And they use an example of this woman selling luxury real estate as a temptation, and that's exactly what these people are doing. But you won't even look into it because it's an apostate lie, right? But the thing is, the people that run this religion, and I know that you think that you're serving God by listening to the governing body, but I guarantee you, the governing body is laughing at all of you who are witnesses, right? They don't respect your loyalty. I guarantee you they're laughing at you. This is how you know they're laughing at you because of stuff like this, right? If they didn't think it was funny what they're doing to you and how they're lying to you, they wouldn't do stuff like this. They would just take your money and keep lying about it. But when they do stuff like this, it's a practical joke to these people, right? You guys are, I'll stop. I'll move on because I don't want to start to like say anything mean, but like you got to start doing your own research on what's going on with this organization. But I didn't mean to sidetrack because this wasn't even about this, but I couldn't help to mention the thing with the luxury real estate when I was watching this I don't know what to call it, this satanic ghost video. But anyway, so um the next ghost scene is going to be at 13 minutes into this video. So you can find this still on their website and go to 13 minutes into this video.
We have to remember the wife of Lot. It didn't have to end that way for her. And it doesn't have to end that way for us. The wife of Lot.
Now, before I play it again, let me just ask you this question. Why is the ghost of Lot's wife in the mirror? Right? I mean, I thought Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in ghosts. So, I mean, that's what they showed you, right? I mean, I don't know any other way that you think that was what they showed you, but Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in ghosts, right? So why is the ghost of Lot's wife in the bathroom mirror? So the first thing I want to mention is that, do you see how white she is? So this is where the term white as a ghost comes from. I don't even know if people still use that term, but like back in the 80s, you'd hear like people would talk about being white as a ghost. And that's because ghosts were always portrayed as just being really, really white, and the pitch black background enhances the whiteness of this ghost. But that's where the term white as a ghost came from. Now, could they make her any more white? I mean, it's an Asian woman, so why is she so white? Like that's a ghost, right? Period. That's a ghost. That's why she's so white. But the second thing I want to mention about this is, well, who is this? Because well, Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in ghosts, right? They say all that stuff's demonic, it's from the Satan. So why would they make a scene where she's seeing a ghost in the mirror? It doesn't make any sense. Now, what a brainwashed Jehovah's Witnesses would probably say is, oh, she was just picturing herself as Lot's wife. Well, if she was picturing herself as Lot's wife, then why isn't this the actor, looking like Lot's wife? Because in some of those weird sequences, they do show the character on the left. Some of those sequences have her in it. But this is not her. This is not the same actor, so she's not picturing herself in the mirror. Like this is somebody else. And Lot's wife is also not Japanese either, right? So why is there a Japanese ghost in the mirror? Right? It's not Lot's wife. She's not Japanese. And another thing too, because if witnesses try to say, "Oh, she was just picturing herself as if she ends up like Lot's wife," well, why is it in the mirror, right? Why doesn't she just be on the couch with a Bible in her hand, meditating on Lot's wife? Why specifically is it in the mirror? You see, that's a reference to horror movies, the whole thing like seeing a ghost in the mirror. There's no reason that the Watchtower producers said, well, you know what, she's got to picture Lot's wife in a mirror. It doesn't make any sense. And again, Lot's wife is not Japanese. So why is there a Japanese woman in the mirror that's not her? And it can't be Lot's wife because Lot's wife is not Japanese. Plus, witnesses supposedly don't believe in ghosts. Well, my assessment of this, with everything else I'm going to show you, is that the reason there's a Japanese ghost in a mirror is because, again, it's a reference to The Ring and the Grudge movie. It has to be Japanese. That's the way these subliminal things work. This is why the whole Jehovah's Witness drama is all Japanese characters, because they're making a reference to this Japanese ghost. But we all know Lot's wife is not Japanese. So the next thing I want to show you is, and this is going to be more education, or let me backtrack. So in the movie The Grudge, so before I move on, I want to stay in this mirror scene for a second. This is from the movie The Grudge. And as you can see, the ring-shaped mirror, and who's in the mirror? The Japanese ghost is in the mirror. Right? And this is the American version of The Grudge. So the main character in the American version is not Japanese, but the ghost is still Japanese. So what I said earlier about it being in the mirror is the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses in the JW world should have just depicted her on the couch or somewhere else picturing Lot's wife, right? Why does she have to see Lot's wife through a bathroom mirror? Well, because it's a scene from the Grudge movie. That's why it's a Japanese ghost in the mirror. There's no reason that Watchtower producers would put that there. And it's not just in the Grudge movie, it's on all these Grudge Ring movies got a mirror scene. So this is the Japanese version of The Grudge. So in the Japanese version of The Grudge, notice another mirror scene where the Japanese ghost is in the mirror. And it's the same thing. Right? This character, the Grudge from the Grudge and the Ring movie, this Japanese ghost, this got the same characteristics as the thing in the Jehovah's Witness movie, but there's always a scene with the mirror. Right? Always. And there's no reason that Jehovah's Witness producers would have put her meditating on Lot's wife in the mirror. So now I just want to show this for mainly people who are Jehovah's Witnesses, and maybe even some XJWs who still never watch horror movies. But this is just a couple of scenes, or more than a couple, to show that the whole idea of looking into the mirror and seeing somebody else's face is strictly horror movies. It's not Bible movies. It's not Bible drama movies. There's no account in the Bible of that being something that's normal. This is specific to horror movies. The thought of going into the bathroom and looking into the mirror and seeing some other face in the mirror, it is a scary thought. And this is why horror movies use this all the time. But I just want to show this to Jehovah's Witnesses that are waking up, or that are going to try to discredit this information, to show you that the whole mirror thing, this is significant. This is something that's in horror movies all the time.
Candyman.
So you see, for Jehovah's Witnesses, this is something that's prominent with horror movies. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with the Bible, nothing to do with Lot's wife. Right? There is no incident in the Bible that has anything to do with Lot's wife that mentioned anything about her even owning a mirror. This is horror movie stuff. And this is why there's a ghost in the mirror. It's not a person, it's a ghost. It's not the main character, and it's in the mirror for a reason. Right? So not only is this part of the Grudge Ring movie, but it, like I showed those other clips, it's in horror movies in general. So now I want to just slow this down. I want to slow it down so you can kind of just see exactly how they flash these images to make you jump and freak you out. And this is why when I was at the convention, everybody was freaked out over it. But notice when I slow it down how obvious it is that it's meant to scare the crap out of you. It's meant to be a ghost in the mirror.
Mom, remember the wife of...
And I'm playing a sequence in the background of just the creepy sound effects from what we played already. So I just put that in the background to see how even the sound effects, are in line with all these horror movies.
Lot. Mom, remember the wife of Lot.
Remember the wife of Lot.
Mom, remember the wife of Lot.
Remember the wife of Lot.
Remember the wife of Lot.
And where her arms at? Her arms got cut off, like, right? Like it looks like she's in a straitjacket. Why is she in a straitjacket? Right? I thought Lot's wife was deemed righteous, and which is why that she was allowed to leave with her husband and everything. Right? She was locked up. She was a criminal. Were they running from a mental institution? I thought they're running from the fire and sulfur. Right? Like, why is she in a straitjacket? Right? What is in the mind of these Watchtower producers when they were making this? It has nothing to do with the Bible. But when it comes to this look like she's in a straitjacket, like she got either she got her arms cut off or she's in a straitjacket, is that mental institutions are also part of horror movies. There's a big thing with mental institutions. In fact, in The Grudge Part 2, the main character ends up in a mental institution because they think she's crazy. So I don't know if the whole straitjacket thing is like a reference to mental institutions or she got her arms cut off, but why does it look that way? Right? It's a creepy horror movie. These are the images that they're flashing to the Jehovah's Witnesses. It has nothing to do with the Bible.
That we do not look back. That we do not look back. That we do not look back. That we do not look back.
And look at the look that she has. That's a dead ghost. I mean, that's a scary face, right? I mean, it's a ghost, and look how white she is. Right? It's like It's like the producers went to Home Depot and just said, "This let's you get a can of paint and just pour white paint all over her. Make her as white as she can be to make it obvious that it's a ghost." So how much whiter does she have to be for you, Jehovah's Witnesses, to see that they're depicting a ghost? This is a demon. It's not Lot's wife. It's a ghost, and the pitch black background is meant to enhance the ghost-like image, right? They can't make her any more white than that. And again, look at the look on the face. That's the face of a ghost.
That we do not look back. 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 That we do not look back.
And keep in mind, the music is their music. I didn't edit anything. I didn't do anything to it. I'm just repeating the creepy sound effects that they're making that are identical to the one in the Grudge movie. So now moving on to the final sequence, right? This is the final sequence of this ghost stuff, is in the same video, The Lot of Wife Part 3, but you want to go to 28 minutes and 38 seconds.
Promise me you'll be at the memorial.
I promise.
Mom, don't look back. Remember the wife of Lot.
Remember the wife of Lot.
So now that we watched the final sequence, I want to now show you the comparison with everything we watched so far and notice the way the ghost actually moves. So we already kind of analyzed the same exact sound effects, but the Ring and the Grudge movie, at least the original ones, I know they kept making more movies I'd never seen under the later ones, but in the old original Ring and Grudge movies, she moves with like flashes of light and static. Right, so every time she moves, it's sort of like she kind of just like, it's almost like she skips frames and with flashes of light. So just pay attention to the flashes of light in the movement of the Ring and Grudge character. So now what I want to do is, on the left side, I'm going to play the JW sequence of all the ghost scenes. I put all the ghost scenes together, and I put all the clips that I took from the Ring and Grudge together. Now, for those of you that seen the preview of this video, the short 2-minute video I did, and I showed this, in fact, someone had sent me a message and said, "Oh, well, it looks like you put a lot of work into editing that." And I let them know, I said, I didn't do anything. I'm not an editor like that. You know, I don't know how to make stuff like that. Like all that I did was I literally just took all the clips and put them side by side. But the way they synchronize is crazy. So when someone said, "Oh, it looks like you put a lot of work into that," they probably thought that I must have taken the time to sequence it a specific way. And I literally just put the clips next to each other and play them at the same time. And notice how similar the movements are and the sound effects when we play these side by side.
That we do not look back. Not look back.
Now, again, I didn't do nothing but just line them up and press play. And notice how similar the sound was and the flashes of the way the ghost moves. Now that's impossible that it would be that much alike unless it was either the same producer or Watchtower was mimicking these horror movies, right? It's impossible. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix in the JW clips with the Ring and Grudge movie. Right now, in this one, I was a little bit more selective on how I added it in, but I still didn't do anything. I just literally put the clips in those clips, but I didn't edit anything as far as the sound and the actual video. So when I put the JW clips and mix them in, let me know if anyone would be able to even tell it's two different sources of information, right? Like when I mix the JW clips in, it just looks like it's all the same movie, right? So notice how well the JW stuff blends in with a so-called demonic movie according to Jehovah's Witness doctrine. Now, the only thing that would give that away that there was something extra added in there is when a couple of those scenes it said the wife of Lot and the scenes from the Jehovah's Witness trailer video. But anyone that just watches that clip, they wouldn't have any idea that there's some Bible-based drama that was mixed in there. It's so the synchronicity is it's perfect. It could not match together that perfectly again unless it's the same producer or Watchtower was mimicking this movie. So just to make one more point, because if you watch my channel, I make my videos undisputed. But if you watch the end, if you watch any of my videos to the very end, everything that I'm saying is undisputed. You can't dispute the stuff that I'm showing you. So I'm going to just show one more example to show that this is deliberate. So I found a Christian-based video of Sodom and Gomorrah, and I just found a clip. I couldn't find the actual name of this clip, but it's made by Christians. So when I add this normal Christian church video of Sodom and Gomorrah into this Grudge and Ring movie, let me know if it blends in so perfectly that you can't tell the difference, or if you can tell that something else is added, something that doesn't belong there. So why didn't the Christian video fit in like the JW video? Now keep in mind, I'm not doing anything special. Or I didn't purposely try to pick a clip that would not fit in. This is the climax of this movie where she turns to a pillar of salt. That's the only clip I could use that's relevant to the video. So why is it that this one it didn't merge in the same way, right? Well, why? Well, it's because this Christian version from a so-called Babylon the Great, according to Jehovah's Witness standards, they weren't trying to mimic a horror movie. It's that simple. So that's why even like the music and the way that the film is done, it's not mimicking a horror movie. It's not using the same creepy, scratchy sound effects. It's not using those flashes of light and big bang sounds to make you jump out of your seat. That's why the Christian Sodom and Gomorrah, it just doesn't sync like the JW one. So why does the JW one sync so well? It's because they were mimicking the exact movie. That's why it blends in the way that it does. Now, this is a question I want all Jehovah's Witnesses to answer, is that we were told as Jehovah's Witnesses that all Christian religions are part of false religion, which is part of Babylon the Great, and therefore it's demonic. That's really what Jehovah's Witnesses believe, right? This is why they tell Jehovah's Witnesses they're not allowed to even listen to Christian-based music. They can't even listen to a song about Jesus because they say, oh, it's Christian-based, it's Babylon the Great, it's false religion, it's from Satan. So we were told as witnesses that other churches that especially use the cross are demonic. They're from Babylon the Great. It's a false religion. So if that's the case, then why is it that when we put the Christian religion that's supposedly from Satan, why is it that when we put that in a horror movie, it doesn't merge the same way? It's not synchronistic. But the JW one fits in so well, you wouldn't even know the difference if I didn't tell you anything. If I just put this trailer out and didn't even say anything, no one would even know there's anything in it that doesn't belong in it. So here's just an elementary base reasoning. This is elementary base reasoning. And for those of you who have children, you could even ask your children to answer this question. So the top of the screen, the grudge in the ring, that's demonic. Now I just want to say I don't really think that the people that made the movie are demonic, but I'm saying it that way in Jehovah's Witness terms because these videos are meant to help wake people up from this religion. So I don't think the people who make horror movies are demonic, and I don't think people that watch them are demonic. It's all in good fun. It's not real. It's fantasy. So I don't think they're demonic, but because we're talking about Jehovah's Witness doctrine, and it is based on something evil. So if the grudge in the ring, which is at the top of the screen, if they are from Satan, and a false religion is from Satan, then out of the left side and the right side, which one would merge perfectly with the satanic movie? The one that's from Satan or the one that's from God's organization on earth? Right? If Jehovah's organization is the one true organization on earth, then wouldn't it be the JW version that doesn't merge with the ring and grudge? Right? And this is very basic elementary teaching. Right? It's like the game like make a match, right? Out of the left side and the right side, which one does not belong there? When we merge both of them in the Ring and Grudge movie, which one doesn't merge? Well, clearly the one that's from Satan is the one that should merge, right? Because if false religion is from Satan, then those are the two that should merge. But you see, what we have here is a problem for Jehovah's Witnesses. Your version for you who are Jehovah's Witnesses, it's the exact same method. The ghost moves exactly the same. The sound effects are the same. The movements are the same. The flashes of light are the same. The ghostly image in the mirror is the same. The one on the right doesn't have a a scene where she's looking in the mirror and there's a ghost in the mirror because it's based on the Bible. What is the Jehovah's Witness version based on? It's based on the grudge. It's based on the ring. So this is the type of evidence that can literally be used in a court, right? If we were putting Watchtower on trial, this evidence could be used in court. An expert witness can explain this. And you can see how, hey, the JW version, it syncs perfectly with those movies. So the only way that that's possible is if it's the same director or if Watchtower copied the same exact methods, right? And just to emphasize it, and I don't consider myself a Christian personally. I don't believe in the Bible personally. I think there's some good stuff in the Bible. I think part of the Bible maybe is true. But so I wouldn't say I'm a Christian, but when we were Jehovah's Witnesses talk trash about all Christians. In fact, Jehovah's Witnesses are probably the biggest trash talking religion that exists. They talk trash about everybody. And any church that uses the cross, oh, they're from Satan, they're Babylon the Great, right? So they talk so much trash about other religions. And when you look at this video, the basic Christian religion that uses the cross, this is the Bible's depiction of Sodom and Gomorrah, a pillar of salt, not a demonic Japanese ghost. So why is the one from Satan normal looking and the one from God's organization fits right in? Well, the answer is obvious. So now what I want to do is I'm going to now just slow down that final sequence that we looked at and slow motion and just break down the final part of this video. And many times when you slow things down, it's when you can really see the subliminals they're throwing out at you. So that right there, like if you look at her face, again, horror movie stuff, it's a ghost, right? And she looks like she's pissed off. That's one of those ghosts that looks like she's about to kill you, is what it looks like. And nothing about that looks Sodom and Gomorrah. And again, that just straight up looks like a dead woman. And again, I'm going to just explain what it looks like to me from watching horror movies. If you ever watched like a Friday the 13th movie with like Jason, and I don't mean to be graphic, but Jason takes a chainsaw or cuts you or something in the stomach, that's the look when people get killed in horror movies. Like somebody just stabbed her in the belly with like a machete. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. But somehow they get Lot's wife out of that. And on this one, she's got a pair of eyes in her head. Now, I know what they're doing is they're flashing the images so quick that you're getting like a merge of different pictures, which is why you see a separate set of eyes in her forehead. But this is how subliminal messages work. They're flashing these things so quick you don't really see what's going on. But when you look at this pause, the reason why there's a set of eyes in her forehead is it's like when it comes to like things like demon possession, the whole idea is that you have another entity inside of you. So like this is like symbolic of like when someone's got different spirits in them, right? And so you see like there's a pair of eyes in her head. And again, this is horror movie stuff, is why I'm saying that. But you're not going to see this unless you really slow it down and pause these images. But there's a set of eyes in her head. That's creepy. And there's no reason for that separate set of eyes to be in her head because it's not the same picture, right? So it's not like a slow merge. It's like it's one frame and another frame. So when it's on this frame, why are the eyes there from the other frame? Again, this is how they add these things in there in a secret way. And this is a reference to in mainly the Ring movie. In the Grudge movie, she shows her face a little bit more in the Grudge, but in the Ring, it's usually just like a lot of times it's black like that. But this is a reference to how she walks, and she's got this big, long black hair that covers her face, and you can't see her face. And this is what this is a reference to. So it's subliminal to like the face covering, the hair covering the face. Now, even though she's turned around, that's the subliminal way they're introducing that idea of the Ring character with the black hair covering the face. So notice how they do that as I continue to play it. So see, now when they had her turn around, if you look closely, you can see the hair now is covering her face, just like in a Ring. Because while this is another frame, they left the hair from her turned over backwards or turned around backwards, and they made it so the hair is still in front of her face now from the other image. So now, just like the Ring, if you look at where that hair is kind of faded right down the middle of her face, if it wasn't faded, it would look exactly like the Ring with one eye showing, exactly like the Ring. And that's basically what they're doing in a subliminal way. So that's what that's a reference to, is the black hair covering her face like that. And you see, they go back to that, and then they go back to that, but the hair is still in front of her face. And now she really looks like a demon now. And this is almost like a weird pyramid shape. I'm not going to read too much into this because there's enough hardcore evidence where I don't got to try to guess all these subliminal things, but there is a little weird shape. I mean, that just looks weird. I don't know how to explain it. Oh, kind of like a pyramid type of thing, but it looks weird, like the background. And she looks really distorted, even more so distorted in that picture. I mean, look at that. I mean, come on. Right? You can't tell that's a ghost. And look at that. That's like a witch, right? That's like in a witch movie, and a witch is standing on like a pentagram and she's about to cast a spell. Look at that face. Does that look like someone that's Sodom and Gomorrah, and they're running from the city and Jehovah's going to destroy the city and they're running for that's the face of a witch about to cast a spell. And again, for witnesses, you don't know a lot of this stuff I'm saying because you weren't allowed to watch horror movies. So you might not understand this, but that's the face of like somebody's about to cast a spell. That's like a very angry, mean, ghostly face or witch. That's not someone that's meditating on Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot's wife. Now she looks normal, but why did she already like she was about to cast a spell in a frame before that one? And of course, you got to have the ghost orbs in the background. Why did they put those orbs in the background? Who knows? Okay, this one's pretty creepy too. I mean, look at that, right? And see the eyeball like right in the center. I'm kind of speechless at this point. Like I don't know any other way to say it. I hope Jehovah's Witnesses watching this can see what I'm showing you. If you don't see it by now, then I don't know. I guess the brainwashing is that strong, but only in Jehovah's Witnesses are you going to get Sodom and Gomorrah out of this, right? Somehow this the images like this somehow they're getting. I'm sorry, not even Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot's wife, right? Somehow a face, a triplet face with five eyes and noses and stuff like somehow this is Lot's wife. And who's that on the left? Right? I can't tell. Is I don't think that's the actor, the main character. And it doesn't look like the same ghost that was in the mirror, but like look at the face on the left. That's like again, it looks like a witch, right? That look is in horror movies. I've seen horror movies that people look just like that. That's like she's an evil witch or she's possessed. Look at that face on the left. That's not like anxiety that Jehovah's going to destroy the city and you're going to turn her pillar salt. Like, what is that? Is that a witch on the left? Now, could she be any more white? Right. I think I meant to say what I said before, like on this part about how white she's like a ghost, but literally they went to Home Depot, they got a bunch of cans of paint, and the director said, just pour the bucket of paint on her head, make sure that she can't be any more whiter so that the witnesses can wake up and see that they're showing you ghost. Right? The producer said, hey, we have to make her as white as possible. Why is she so white? It's a ghost. White as a ghost. This is where the term comes from, being white as a ghost. Right? You have to be able to see that at this point. Those of you who drove witnesses watching this, I mean, I don't know what else to say. That's a ghost. And now there's another witch on the right side, right? You got two witches on the white side. I mean, on the right side and left side. And now the one in the middle, again, it looks like she's casting a spell. Look at the way her head is down like that. Doesn't that look like a witch cat? And look at the hair length. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about a woman with hair that long. I'm just saying that that's also like in the Grudge and Ring movie. The hair is like down that far, but she looks like a witch about to cast a spell. I thought like, and isn't the face, isn't the picture in the middle the main character like turning into Lot's wife or whatever? So is that how Lot's wife looked when she turned to Pillar of Salt, like a witch? Wouldn't she have anxiety? Right? And if you notice the clip that I played from that Christian movie, when the woman turned to Pillar of Salt, she looked like she had anxiety, but this looks like a witch in the middle. And why are the two witches on the side like, look at the look that they have? It's kind of like a look of satisfaction, right? The look on those faces on the left and right are almost like, I'm glad that you're turning into a Pillar of Salt. Now, I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing, but in this frame right here, what I'm seeing is a big pair of lips, a nose, and eyeballs. And it doesn't even look like a woman. This looks like a straight monster, right? This looks like a straight demon, right? You see the like the lips and the nose and the eyes. I mean, and look at the size of what looks to be the lips, like, and that nose. Like, this is where I think they really put a subliminal message of like a demon in this sequence, because that face right there doesn't match any of these other people they're showing. And let me just show you what I mean. So, like, this is one eye where my mouse is at, and this is like half of the second eye. You can't really see it. And this is like a big nose. You can even see the nostrils right here. That's like a nose. And this is like the lips, and this is like the upper lip, and this is the lower lip, right? So this is the whole mouth. This is a nose. You can even see the nostrils, and then like these big eyes. Like, what is this? This is not even a human. It's definitely not a woman. It's not the same Japanese ghost. And maybe you can see it a little bit better there what I was seeing. Yeah, see, like, you can see a bit clearer. So this is the eye, this is the second eye, and this is the nose. Actually, this nose looks a little bit smaller than the other one. And then you have like a big pair of lips right here. But who the hell is that? That's not the same face that we're seeing in these other sequences. What is that? Now it looks like a woman again, right? But see, that last frame we were looking at wasn't a woman. That was like a straight beast, right? Like a straight demon or something. Now it looks back like a woman, but even that face looks creepy. Look at her the way her mouth is open, and the one eye, like, even that's a little creepy image. And she looks like she's that, whatever that is, looks like it's just screaming like horrifically. It doesn't look like Lot's wife. That again, it's like straight out of a horror movie. And now she's a witch again. Why is it in the last frame her mouth was open like she was screaming in pain, and now she's a witch? I mean, I'm just saying witch, but like the look on her face, like with her head down like that. And that's another thing with the Ring and Grudge movie. Her head is always, at least in the Ring, her head's usually always down like that. That's another reference to the Ring. But look, like, and this is where the subliminals come in, because the sequences don't even make sense. One minute she's in pain, and then she's like looks like a witch, then she looks like she's pleased, then it's like a beast, it's not even human. And I don't even know what this is. This looks like five faces in one. It's like you can see this is a face right here, and there's another face on the side, right? There, see, that's the nose and the mouth, and then there's another face there. Then all this white stuff, I don't know what that is. It's not fire and sulfur, right? Like that's what is all this? This is like a ghostly orb aura looking thing. That's what that looks like some ghost stuff. And that looks creepy too. And I'm not going to get too much into it, but I see like five different faces in that one right there. And that look right there, let me go back a little bit. Okay, right there. So that look right there. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about, but there's horror movies that have a look like that where I can't quite think of how to explain it, but it's like they're looking back at you in a creepy way. Almost like you're about to get killed or they're about to do something sneaky or it's not really them. Like there's been movies where maybe somebody's possessed and it's not really their spouse, but then their spouse would turn around and look at them with an evil look like that, but it's not really them. It's like they're possessed or something. And if I could remember certain movies that have that by name, I would put it. So by the time I upload this video to YouTube, if I can recall one of the movies that has that look, I'll put it on the screen. But that's a specific look for from a horror movie, right? It's usually when someone's possessed, they're looking at their spouse, and it's not really them. It's like they've been taken over by like some evil spirit. And that's the look like they're looking back and they're like going to kill you or something like that, or they're going to go do something. But that's specifically to a horror movie look. And why is she looking like that? Right? What does that look for? And that's a straight evil look. And again, it's significant in horror movies. That same look that she has in her face, it's a horror movie look. And this is when she finally turns to Pillar of Salt. See, all the demonic stuff, that's what they want to show you. But at some point, they have to pretend. They got to pretend it's Lot's wife. So, this is them pretending that this is all it is. She's turning to a pillar of salt. So finally, they show her turning into a pillar of salt. And when they end the sequence, so this is what's this is why this is significant, what I want to show you. Because all this ghostly images, this is the very last scene of the ghost stuff. This is it. There's no more after this. So they end it on her eyeball. What you would expect is they would end on her whole body being a pillar of salt, like the other Christian movie did. That's how it should end. It should end showing she's a pillar of salt. Watchtower wants to focus on the eyeball being like the climax of the scene. Well, why? Well, the eyeball is significant to the Ring and Grudge movies. Always the eyeball is significant. If you notice, the left eye is kind of blurred out, making the emphasis on the eyeball, the single eyeball. So based on the other Grudge and Ring movies, I was wondering, what is the significance that they're showing you in this part with the eyeball? What is Watchtower showing you with the eyeball? And let me know if you can see this, but if you look directly in the center of the eyeball, there's a face there. And where you can see it's a face is because while the rest of the eyeball has all this other stuff on it, this layer of stuff, the pupil has a face in it. And let me know if you can see that face before I point it out more directly. But I'm seeing a face. I'm seeing two eyeballs, a nose, and a mouth. And that's where I see the face at, right there. And that's where I'm seeing the eyes at, the nose, and the mouth. And you can see on the left side that everything around that face is like a different structure. So it's like the face is prominently standing out, while the rest of it is a whole different kind of like structure looking. Now, even if you don't see the face, there's definitely something in the middle of that eyeball. Now, as I mentioned before, there's an emphasis on the eyeball in all these movies. So on YouTube, you can still find this. I don't know if you're still gonna find this by the time you watch this video, but I actually found the original Japanese version of The Ring that somebody posted on YouTube. So if you want to watch this original movie, you can type that in on YouTube, and somebody actually posted the whole movie there. But basically, it's all in Japanese. So if you go to this movie, and I believe it's like 40 minutes in. I mean, I know the timestamps there says 37, but I think it's like, yeah, if you go basically, yeah, go to 37 minutes in about that. And there's a part where in the movie they're looking at this old video. And just notice this part.
So
I remember I said there's always a significant on the eyeball. So here's the original Japanese version of The Ring, and it's got the same scene where they're showing up a close up of the eyeball, and even on the left side, the other eye is there, but it's blurred out, just like in a JW version. So there's something in the eyeball there too. Now, I'll be honest, I can't tell what that is. I can't say if it's a face or what it is. It's not that clear, but basically there's something in the eyeball. So, and again, the Ring and Grudge movies, this is significant. The eyeball is significant. In fact, on the Grudge American version, that's the only thing on the front cover of the video is the eyeball. So why is your face in the middle of the eye in a JW version? Why is that? Why would they put that there? And if you still are not seeing a face there, why is the pupil different for some reason, right? I can see the face, but for you who don't see the face, it's still different. And on the one on the left, I mean, on the one on the right from The Ring, it's the same thing. I just can't see what that is. So after looking at all this stuff, there's only two conclusions on why the JW version looks this way. Either they used the same producer, right? The same person that produced and worked on The Ring or The Grudge, either the same guy that produced it or one of these people that produced these movies, or Watchtower is copying and mimicking this exact specific movie. And this is why the Watchtower version has all Japanese characters. That's why it's all Japanese characters. That's why she's seeing a ghost in the mirror, right? She could have fantasized about, or visualized Lot's wife in any position, sitting on the couch, right? At the Kingdom Hall. Like, why is she looking in a ring-shaped mirror that she's picturing? Because this is what horror movies do. They always put the ghost in the mirror. It's the same thing. So there is no question about it. The fact that it's all Japanese characters, the ghost moves the same with flashes of light. The sound effects are exactly the same. The sound effects are so the same that when I merge the two videos together, you can't even tell the difference. The ghost is a Japanese ghost, long hair that covers the face, emphasis on one eyeball. And clearly it's a ghost, right? Nobody is that wise. Why is they make her nobody? It's a ghost. And witnesses say they don't even believe in ghosts. So basically, I don't know any way that witnesses can defend this. And I think one of the strongest pieces of evidence that I showed is when I took that other random Sodom and Gomorrah Christian video. And when I merged that one into Grudge and Ring, you can clearly see it doesn't belong. It clearly doesn't belong. And the JW one, it just synchronizes right in. You can't even tell the difference. It just sinks right in. So now the only question that I do have is, why did Watchtower actually do this? Now, the first reason I know is they always do the subliminals, right? So the subliminals, or not even subliminals, but they always have to tell you what they're doing, right? It's like the Denmark Assembly Hall. So they always put these clues on who they really are, right? So, and just like the whole theme with the luxury real estate being the temptation, like it's all just subliminal. They're ways that they're letting you know who they really are. So you got those subliminals that are meant, to basically explain who they really are, to basically say, hey, we're really the opposite of who we claim to be. So you got those subliminals, right, to tell you who they are. But I'm curious on why do they specifically on this level put all this stuff in the movie the way that they did? Where, like I said, when I watched this at the convention, my wife jumped on me just like the girl that I dated when I watched The Grudge in 2002 in the movie theater, right? Like that. Like so why did they do this? And the only explanation I can come up with, because I'll admit on this one, I can't say what other reasons they did this. They did this because I never seen anything like this before in JW history, as far as all of the weird things that they do. So the only thing that I can come up with why I think maybe they did this, besides just the subliminal messages of telling you who they really are, is I think they're just trying to scare the crap out of witnesses. And this is going to sound weird, but I think that what they're subliminally doing is basically scaring the crap out of witnesses so that to put in their head that if you ever leave the truth, the ghost of Lot's wife is going to come after you. I know that sounds ridiculous because witnesses, they don't even believe in ghosts, right? But subliminal messages, sometimes they're meant to affect your subconscious without you realizing it. So while witnesses would watch this and not think they're afraid of a ghost, I honestly think that could be something they're trying to program, is to scare the crap out of them. Like, basically, if you ever leave the so-called truth, I don't know, the ghost of Lot's wife is going to come after you. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have other ideas on why they actually went through this length to put all these horror movie stuff in the movie. But that's what I think. They just want to scare the crap out of them. Don't you ever leave Jehovah, or the ghost of Lot's wife is going to come after you.
That we do not look back. Not look back.
Bye.